over, man. We're just getting started.
Let me say it as simply as I can. Yes, I accept your nomination to run and serve with Barack Obama.
This also gives the internet one last chance to talk about our bromance.
You want to stand against violence in America, and join me in getting these weapons of war off the streets of America. I'm a proud Democrat, but I will govern as an American president. I'll work as hard for those who didn't vote for me as those who did. Let this grim era of demonization in America begin to end here and now.
Biden's not in the race anymore, but he's still the US president. Elections are slated for November this year. A new president will take over in January 2025. So Joe Biden has 6 months left. He will be looking to end on a high, but the Republicans will make it hard for him. They've already turned up the pressure. The House Speaker wants Biden to resign as president. He says if you can't run for office, you can't stay on either. You must step aside. So expect a turbulent period. More so if Kamala Harris is nominated by the Democrats, which brings us to the campaign trail. Biden will have a role there. On the campaign trail, as president, his voice carries weight. Plus, his core supporters are still loyal to him. That's black and progressive voters. He will need to rally them for the Democratic nominee. And don't forget, the US is involved in 2 ongoing wars. Those conflicts won't pause for the US election, which means Biden remains a key player. But what about after January 2025? Chances are he will retire. Very few American presidents stay on in active politics. They mostly stick to seminars and speeches. Also, Biden is 81 years old, so it's hard to see another political innings for him, which raises a complicated question. What is Joe Biden's legacy? The first thing that stands out is longevity. Biden has been in politics for 52 years. He was elected to the US Senate in 1972. He was just 29 years old back then, so clearly an early bloomer. But Biden waited many decades to reach the White House. He spent 36 years as a senator, 8 years as vice president, and now 4 as president. Like him or hate him, that's an impressive career. We can't focus on all of it, so let's focus on the presidency. Biden's 2020 campaign was a long shot. He finished 4th in the first Democratic caucus. But he did not give up. He snatched the Democratic nomination. He also did something rare in US politics. He beat a sitting US president and took over in January 2021. The US was still reeling from the Wuhan virus pandemic. It was also coming to terms with the Capitol riots, an assault on American democracy. So Biden talked about healing and unity. His slogan was, America's back. But did that translate into any success? Well, Biden did pass some major legislations, almost $2 trillion in pandemic aid, $1 trillion for infrastructure upgrade, $52 billion to make semiconductors in the US, and the Inflation Reduction Act. That last one is very important. It's the single biggest investment in green energy. On paper, this is all very impressive. Biden did not have a brutal majority in Congress. In fact, the Republicans captured the House in 2022. So passing these bills is a big tick. You're talking about structural investments here. It will take years, maybe decades to materialize. But that's what he did. Now we come to the failures. Biden wasn't able to solve America's gun crisis. Forget solving it. Former presidents are being shot at in campaign rallies, so the situation has gotten worse on his watch. But his biggest failures came abroad, which is strange because Biden is an old foreign policy hand. He served on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So we assumed that Biden would ace it. As it turned out, he did not. He may have united European nations against Russia, but that unity hasn't really led to much. Russia occupies around 18% of Ukraine's land. The war has also upended supply chains around the world. So net, it's a failure. Same in Israel. Biden will always be remembered for his role in Gaza. He may have criticized Benjamin Netanyahu, but he kept shipping weapons. As a result, more than 38,000 Palestinians are dead. In West Asia, that will remain Biden's legacy, that of an enabler. And how can we forget Afghanistan? The United States spent 20 years fighting the Taliban. Afghan women had just started to enjoy their freedoms, but Joe Biden flushed it down the drain. His exit plan was a complete disaster, one that put the Taliban back in power. Now, Biden will argue that he was given a raw deal, but when you're president, the buck stops with you. So looking back, how do you sum up Joe Biden's legacy? He was certainly a fighter. He never gave up his dream to become US president. He first tried in 1988, by the way, but no success. Then he tried again in 2007, but settled for vice president. And then he tried again in 2020. Among allies, he was a respected figure, mostly for his experience and gentle manners. Dozens of world leaders have also reacted to Biden's exit. All of them had great things to say about him. So it's easy to judge Biden the president, but it's not so easy to judge Biden the politician. In his own words, he was supposed to be a transitional leader, someone to beat Trump and then leave.
Look, I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else. There's an entire generation of leaders you saw stand behind me. They are the future of this country. They're the people who are going to...
So it all depends on the transition. If Democrats retain the White House, Biden's legacy will be sealed. His transition would be a success. But if they don't, things will be very different. No one will blame the Democratic nominee for the loss. They will blame Joe Biden.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
On the show today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital,